Welcome back to the 7 Deadly Sins anime review, episode number 28. This I'm reviewing the 74th episode of the anime, which is Britannia's War Destruction, and the 344th chapter of the manga, To the Future, which we'll talk about this one, and how I feel about this particular chapter, way it basically was told. Now, as for the episode itself, this episode adapted pretty much the entirety of chapters 259 and 260, and they adapted almost the entirety of 261 with the exception of the last 3 pages. Yep, the wiki site basically didn't give me anything. Yep, though it kind of tells the sequence a bit out of order. Like, mostly put for like 259 to... I'd say most of 260 basically is told in order, mostly. Except that in case of the battle between the Search and Destroy Force and the Demon Army, they put all that stuff first, a little bit mixed in with the what's going on with Maspet and Desiree. Yeah, but the stuff happened with them. Yeah, they actually put that after the battle was already concluded. And mostly put, they made some small changes here and there. Mostly some visual changes. And some dialogue changes. Mostly put, is similar to how it presented in the manga. The episode pretty much picks up where last week's episode left off. Now, they did make one small change here, where when they show Desiree and Maspet, they actually don't show them actually at first. They show the outside the house. You hear them talking. You don't actually see them for quite some time. Yeah, but mostly put, most of this episode just a battle, and it goes pretty well. Mostly, despite there's some casualties. And it's presenting a little bit longer in the episode than it is in the manga. In the manga, it doesn't take that much time. In the anime, it takes, like, I'd say almost half the episode. It's pretty much this battle. And the pretty much battle is pretty much decided in the Search and Destroy Force favor, thanks to Diane, who decides to use her special power to basically flip over the frickin' ground, take out majority of demons, and of course, Death Pierce, basically, is pointing out that him and his 3 subordinates, even though given the breath of blessing, it turns out it's a falsehood. Yep, it may give you strength, but it does not heal your wounds. And that's why I think everybody was wounded, and Peter's like, how are they all together? How are they all together? Well, it's all Elizabeth's doing. Somehow, the manga didn't bother to explain this at all. It just says she healed everybody, and she basically was pointing out that it's a falsehood. And of course, the other 2 angels basically confirm this. Yes, and it's like, you don't know anything. And, well, as for what Goth did in the episode, he did not much of anything. One character was surprisingly absent this episode was King. Yeah, he was absent. I mean, I know that Hauser was seen this episode. Actually, it was Dreyfus. Dreyfus seen the episode briefly when they actually show, like, the castle of Leonis being breached. Not the main palace per se, just the city itself. That was briefly breached by demons. Lucky enough that Dreyfus was able to defend them off, and that's it. It's a sequence that lasts about 3 minutes in the anime. Yeah, it's a quick little thing. This probably just showed, yeah, they probably attacked the city of Leonis, but that's simply it. Yeah, and of course, what Merlin was up to? Well, she and her group decided to go off to, like you see them briefly in the episode, they basically go off to Camelot. Probably with Meliodas, who surprisingly is not in the episode. You know who's also in the episode? Zeteros. But Mel is. Yep. Mostly put the stuff with him was mostly the same as in the manga. I mean, some word changes here and there, some minor stuff. Yeah, they did make some visual changes here. Like, now Desiree herself mostly presented the same. Now, Maspet, and this is something that I've been thinking about ever since I first saw this character. Why is it whenever his character speaks, he looks like he has no lips, and then all of a sudden, he has lips? Yeah, this is one of 2 series I've seen that's been like this. The other series was Full Alchemist with the character Alexander Armstrong, where a lot of times we see him, even though we hear him speaking, he has no mouth. And yet, toward the end of the series, he gets himself a mouth. Somehow, it's never explained. It's kind of sneaky with Maspet. Almost every time you see this guy, you hear him speak, but apparently he's got no freaking mouth. And now apparently he's got a mouth for some reason. Yeah, this is never explained. The manga itself never explained this at all. It just said his mouth disappeared despite he's freaking talking. Oh yeah, it reveals what his commandment is. His is the commandment of silence. Yeah. And apparently he's silent about a bunch of things. And he really wants to tell Desiree something. Now, it's been hinted at both in the manga and anime he's in love with her. And because of his commandment, he can't say it. And apparently it was also revealed that apparently Desiree's sister was in love with him. They changed it to where it says, oh yeah, she's always in love with you. Yeah, I'm not sure why they changed the wording of that where it says loves. Even though their sister's been dead for years. And in the manga, it says she always loved you. And they mentioned that she had a brother. I'm like, when the heck did she have a brother? I don't know if it was a typo. And all of a sudden, Masuma mentioned, oh yeah, she had a sister. Yeah, clearly showing the flashback that she had a freaking sister. A sister who was killed by the four archangels in the Omega arc. Yeah, why the change? No idea. Maybe it was a typo. I have no idea. And all of a sudden, now the girl that they were staying with, she, of course, you actually a lot more her in the episode than you do her in the manga. She see very briefly. In the anime, you see her basically seeing that her town is being evacuated because the demons are coming close. And then she goes back to her home to check on Mospa and Desiree. And then Mel shows up, kills her, and tries to eat her soul. But look enough, apparently Mazred's ability is to swap stuff. I'm like, wait a minute, swapping stuff? This almost sounds very similar to the ability of Room from One Piece that used by Troublemaker Law. As far as I know, that this is a very similar ability, though they refer to it as a trickster ability. Yeah, it's very similar. This is used twice. The first time basically to swap, actually 3 times. First is used to swap the soul of this girl who actually was basically indebted to them. She was indebted, they were indebted to her. The second time was to swap places with basically where Masa switched with Mel, who basically was trying to strangle him. Yep. Yeah. Now they did make a slight change here. In the manga, you actually see his arms with his basically that purple mark you see on his face, like all like slash lines all over his arms. In the anime, they're not there, probably due to a censoring issue. Also, when he showed him basically busting, it looked like he also tore part of Desiree's attire. In the manga, they actually almost look like they show a part of her breast here, like basically cleavage. In the anime, it just basically looked like the bottom of her shirt was basically blown out, showing off her nice belly. Yeah, why that change? Censoring issue, possibly. Yeah. I know the season's basically accused of censoring. That particular change, it's not really a big problem. It doesn't really affect this thing at all. I mean, yes, it's a glaring thing. Basically, people who have seen the manga and see that, yeah, it looks like Desiree could be almost completely naked. This particular, like, little screenshot. But no, she just basically shows off her nice belly. Her belly that she shows off frequently the whole entire series when she's not wearing freaking clothes. Yeah, I should point out that Desiree, when she's seen a lot of the time, she's completely naked. The only reason why you don't see her naughty bits is because of the purple stuff. Yes, the purple stuff is actually sort of a censor in a way, where you have a mark on her face. There's also it used to also cover her breast and her, let's just say, her precious parts, her jewels in a way. Basically, her groin, her butt, and it also covers a part of her leg and her arm too. I get maybe the lower midsection basically coming up in the chest. That's fine for the cover for a female character, but why the leg and the arm? That basically makes no freaking sense. As far as I know, this has never been explained out what the heck this stuff is. And Mospa's got it too, but you mostly see it on his face. You don't see anywhere else in his whole body. I mean, for the whole series, you hardly ever see him like having marks on him aside from the one thing on his face. And yet in the manga, slash marks on his arms with this purple stuff. Yeah. So basically, he starts to tell Mel that basically, yeah, you're not really a good boy at all. And apparently now there's a slight wording change here. Now, in the manga, it says the command affects your psyche. In the anime, it says it affects your mental instability. Basically, this thing makes you freaking nuts. And of course, Desiree tries he tries to attack Desiree when he's of course knocked unconscious. Look like he is unconscious. Of course, they change it where he fainted to basically unconscious. to look like he was about to basically take out Desiree's last target because she only has one heart left, because it was shown in the flashback that she sacrificed 5 of her heart to combat Indedra along with Mospit because they want revenge against the Archangels. And Mospit swapped places with her. The third and last time he used this thing, and then he uses the last ability to send her flying. Yeah. And he dies. Also, it's pointed out, though, both in the manga and the anime, when Mel uses his Hellfire, Desiree points out, though, yeah, Mospit's Hellfire is a lot better than yours. It has the best Hellfire. Yeah, it's mostly the same dialogue, but I love the fact that they kept that in, because that would not make any sense not to include that particular line. Because if you read the manga and see the anime, it's like, hey, why does it come out good at this? And yet, it's good the fact they did. So mostly put, they covered 2 fights in just one episode. Well, they actually included 1 fight, and they pretty much covered the entirety of another. Yeah, the fight they covered mostly the Search and Destroy Force versus the Demon Army. That was pretty much covered in about 3 chapters. This fight was basically 2 chapters. Yeah, though, thanks to covering this particular fight, there's a lot of fights to cover, and since you're up to 61, this is roughly 50 chapter arc. They pretty much have gotten to 260. Now this arc started roughly with chapter 257. They already covered 4 chapters already. There's effectively 46 chapters left. Excuse me, of this arc to be adapted. Now here's an obvious question a lot of people probably asking. Is the anime going to cover the entire arc in just a handful of episodes? I highly doubt it, because that'd be kind of stupid if they do. Yeah, because it's 50 frickin' chapters. I mean, heck, look at, let's say, Black Clover, for example. They covered the reincarnation arc, roughly it's 84 chapters in just 37 episodes. That's more reasonable than covering 50 chapters in 5 episodes. That would be stupid. It's not One Punch Man, where like something like you can cut and splice here and there. It's not One Punch Man. But you can do like stuff from here and stuff from here. You can basically intersplice stuff in part of the manga. But I thought you can cover the remaining 46 chapters in just 3 episodes. I highly doubt it. The first I think they might get with this particular arc, and this is my opinion, they'll probably get through maybe halfway through this arc. That or the season would not end with 24 episodes, it would actually be longer. If I were Studio Dean and you're covering this particular arc, I would probably give it a few more episodes than I would give it more than just 5 episodes, because this arc effectively started last episode, and right now we're already 2 episodes into this particular arc. It's good so far. I appreciate what they did, but I think they should probably give a little bit more time if you're going to cover the new Holy War arc. And like I said, this is an arc that covered 50 frickin' chapters. And you've already covered 4. And mostly almost entirely 5. But I think this particular portion of the chapter probably will be covered in next week's episode. The Embodiment of Darkness. Which is a chapter, but I think it is a chapter of the manga, The Embodiment of Darkness. Let me check and see. I have the book right here. Let's see. Okay, yeah. Yeah, there is a chapter called One Warped by Darkness. It's like what I saw was The Embodiment of Darkness. Yeah, so my guess is they're probably going to cover from finish at 161. And this is my personal guess. They might go straight to maybe 264, maybe? It's possible. Or it could be 65. Who the heck knows? Yeah, so, yeah. Now on to newest chapter in the manga. Chapter 344, To the Future. And this seems like the last chapter of the series. Though I've not heard any confirmation, but this could be the last chapter. Yep. Chapter starts out basically with Deanne and King saying they're going home back to the King's the fairy forest, and well, they're gonna get married soon. Like, you're gonna come out of their wedding, right? We're planning on it really soon. Yeah, really soon. Yep. So they go off, and Bond and Elaine decide to go traveling. Gothel decides to go traveling too. And, well, Miller says we'll always be friends. And they all go pretty much their separate ways. There they go. We're back to our journey. And they mentioned, here's the thing. It's only been about a year, since we've started. Oh my gosh. So are you saying the writer of the series, his name is Nakaba Suguski. He's saying that apparently since chapter 1, it's apparently been 1 year since then. Apparently it's been 1 year since the start of the series. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah. Time a whole while. So yeah, Hawk goes basically back to Purgatory to find his brother. So he goes off, and he's like, how did he get to Purgatory? And we see the King of Leonis. Batra says, is it true, Moses? Your Mary Elizabeth succeed the throne at king after me? I see, yes, this is you, me. Quick attention to me. It's nothing. I have not having to go back to Demon World, and you've done so much for me, too, Batra. Yep. And he says, then first things first, we decide for a date for the coronation. Don't worry, that's fine, don't worry about that. What are you saying, first you and king? I love puzzles and trouble, not my style. And he says, the coronation is a strife compared to political duties you have. There is a point of new holy chief. The Lord takes for families and countries. 2. First I gotta go around Britannia on my honeymoon with Elizabeth. You fool, king doesn't have time for that. Then forget what king. What? I dare you see. He starts basically showing him. And he said very cruisily. Yeah, he says, I only meant that so you could take care of things until I get back from our trip. I'll do my job as soon as I get home. He's like, huh? Yep. And Elizabeth's like, I want to travel before I become the Queen of Leonis. To visit all the places of my memories over the past 3,000 years of knowing Leonis. So that's why. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to press you. Don't apologize, Mother. I just can't wait to see the face of my grandchildren. So that's why you were so insistent. Okay. And then we see the Hawk went to go see Merlin. Merlin, take me to Purgatory. Come on, you kidding me? Little pig pal. And he disappears. We see a character looks very similar to King in his fat form. And some other guy. And then basically Hawk has said to Meliodas, Purgatory, where he just basically gets flopped around. He's looking for his brother. And he does. He finds Wild. Yeah, apparently Hawk's real name is basically Mild. And they see each other. What's Purgatory got? Dash double me. Background body, door figure. Don't tell me you're Maya, my little brother. Yeah, but they reunite. My brother, you're alive. Maya, I wanted so long ago. So I'm gonna see you again before I die. I'll talk about dying. We only just find each other. You sick, something? After a long battle against Demon Lord, my body is a wreck. I've only had a few million years left on me. That's plenty. And that's the chapter. No, seriously, that's the chapter. Ends with frickin' Hawk reunited with his brother. I'm like, okay, so you have Bonnet and Elaine. You have those two along with Elizabeth Meliodas going on a journey throughout Britannia. Okay. Oddly enough, for some reason, Merlin is nowhere featured in this chapter. She's mentioned once. And I'm kind of like, okay, if you're going to have look like it'd be the final chapter, then why not feature her? She's a great character. I get the fact Escanor has just passed away. You could at least feature her in what appears to be the final chapter of the series. That's the only disappointment about this chapter. I mean, I love the fact we got a happy ending for pretty much all the main characters. Well, mostly anyways. I would say the only characters we get a chance to see them, what they're doing at this point is basically some of the more, basically the supporting characters who are not the main cast. Like Jericho, Gula, the big Trinity, and what the rest of the royal family is up to. Yeah, I don't exactly see what they're up to. It's quite interesting the fact we're leaving them out. Maybe we're going to get another chapter basically explain what they're up to. Who knows? It'd be surprising, though, if in fact that Elizabeth basically finds out both her sisters are getting married. That would be interesting. Yeah. But not much else to say about this chapter. This chapter was actually pretty good. I thoroughly enjoyed reading it. It is by far a really good chapter. I give this one a 10 out of 10. Really good. Unknown if this one's going to be the final chapter or not. I did hear a little while ago there was going to be a few chapters left. And I gotta say, for that previous arc, was really quick. Now, in the case of what happened last time, when they tried to look like they were teasing in this series, this one looked like, yeah, it's definitely the end, because Demon King's gone, the Ten Commandments are all gone. Surprisingly, though, also, Zedros is not even in this chapter. He's another character not seen here. Did he go off with his lover? It's possible. We don't really see him in the final arc of the series. And this final arc felt as though it's sort of an addition that, because if you look at it, basically where the series is going, the Demon King arc basically looked like it was definitely the end of the series, and basically the first chapter of this last arc they did for the series felt as though basically could be an epilogue, but mostly I think that the Chaos arc they did for the series, this brief little arc, it felt as though this was a loose end the writer had to tie up before the series actually concluded. That's what it looked like to me, and well, maybe the reason Merlin was featured in this chapter is just a theory. Probably because they wrapped up her story kind of in the last chapter, in the previous chapter of the series. It's possible. I wouldn't be surprised though if her kiss with Escanor basically results in her getting some DNA from him so she can basically probably have his child. Who knows? Escanor was always a fantastic character to read in the manga. Heck, the anime does a fantastic job with him. And Kyle Herbert himself basically in the English dub. I had the current season not been dubbed yet because still being released. And this is Netflix for you. Wait until the season is concluded in Japan before you finally. Yeah, I basically watch it via YouTube. I'm not gonna say what channel it is, but yeah, look at the good subtitles. I like the subtitles for this one. Yeah, but not much else to say about this chapter, this particular chapter or this episode. The episode is pretty good. I love this particular chapter to the future. And I kind of feel as though maybe that the series should have one more chapter. Yeah, just to basically wrap up the supporting cast. Basically what everyone else is up to. Because pretty much you only get just the 7 deadly sins and Hawk, basically their conclusions. And it would be nice to see an actual wedding in the series. I mean, I thought they were going off Demon World, but nope, they're going to stay here. Yep. I mean, I get the fact that, yes, you got to wrap up the main characters, but what about the supporting cast? I mean, this series had a pretty good supporting cast, and you just ignore them in this most recent arc of the series? Yeah. I mean, I could see a time skip, possibly, of probably seeing some kids. That's possible. And no denying the most funniest part of the chapter was Meliodas, Elizabeth, and Batra. Basically, their interaction was by far the best part of the whole entire chapter. And this pretty much took up about 3 pages of the chapter. I thought this was fantastic. And it's nice. Everybody got, pretty much like everybody got loved one. Everybody got basically a girl to hang off of. Like most of the guys. I mean, the only one who's not getting it was Gother. Yeah, he did have one brief love interest in the series. Gula, who he manipulated her. He basically manipulated her to be his girlfriend, but she broke up with him basically when he found out. But though, she is kind of thankful for him for basically bringing back memories of her late father, which, here's kind of the strange thing about it. She has never talked to Bond basically about the fact that Bond was the one who killed her father. Yeah, as far as I can tell, that's never been explored in the series. She never talked to him about it at all. I'm sure she forgave him, but as far as I know, it was never brought up in the series. I kind of wish it would have, but nope. Also, what happened to Jericho? Yeah, who the heck knows? Okay, so that's it for this particular review. As for doing another review tonight, it's a maybe, hopefully be Inuyasha. But otherwise, though, yeah. So the next one's maybe. If I don't get a chance to do it, I'll probably do it tomorrow with a couple of videos, okay? But this next video. Bye.